Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss how to create a test or a quiz in Blackboard. First of all, we need to decide where to put the test or the quiz in Blackboard. I happen to have an exams page in my Blackboard, so I'm going to go ahead and click there. Just know that your Blackboard may be set up differently than mine, so just be sure that you are putting your test and your quizzes somewhere that makes sense to you and also somewhere that students can easily find it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my exams page. So what I want to do is take a look at this menu here, and I'm going to go down to assessments, and you'll see I have the option to create a test, and I'm going to go ahead and click on that. From there, I can go ahead and click on create to create a new test, and I will get this page here that comes up that's going to ask me for some information about my test. And the first thing that I want to do is just go ahead and enter in the name of the assignment. So let's call this Chapter 5 test. Once I've done that, I can add a description of the test, and I can also put in some instructions. Those two fields are optional, so that's up to you if you want to fill those in. And then you'll simply click Submit. So once I click Submit, you can see here that I've now got this sort of shell for my test, and from here I can go ahead and create my questions. You'll notice that I have many different options for types of questions that I can create. You have your old standbys like multiple choice and essays, you have true, false, so really you can create the test to be whatever it is that you want to be. So I'm going to walk you through how to create a few of these different choices, because once you create a few, they're all pretty similar in how it works. So let's start with multiple choice. So you can see here, once I click on create a new multiple choice question, I get this page here, which is where I will build my questions. And you'll notice that I will kind of be building one question at a time. So let me walk you through what you need to fill out here. So you'll notice, first of all, that we have this orange asterisk indicates a required field. That means that's part of this page that we have to fill out in order to create the question. So I can put a title if I want to help me keep things straight, but you don't have to, so I'm going to go ahead and just put in the question text. So this is the question that you're asking of a student. You can type it in the field here. If you have a test already created in some kind of document like a Word document, you could also copy and paste a question over. Just know that sometimes the formatting can get a little strange, but it'll work perfectly fine. So I'm going to go ahead and type my question. And then I'm going to go on down to options. So you can change things like how you want the questions to be numbered. If you want them to be ABC, 1, 2, 3, it really is up to you. You can play around with that. You can allow partial credit. You can randomize questions, all of those sorts of things. And let's go on down to answers, because that I think is probably what's most important, is the question and then your possible answer choices. So you'll notice that I have here answer number 1. Answer number 2, answer number 3, etc. And so since this is a multiple choice test, that's where I will enter my answer possibilities. I can make it 4, I can make it 5, 6, whatever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in my answer options. And other thing that I want to point out is, you'll see where it says correct here. I can indicate something as a correct answer by simply selecting that bubble. So that marks that answer A, Shakespeare, is the correct answer to the question, who wrote the play Macbeth. So I'm going to keep scrolling on down. You'll also notice there's a button to remove an option. So if I decided that I only want there to be 3 options for this question, I can simply click on that remove button and it will delete that answer. Okay, so if we scroll on down, you also have the option to type in some feedback. If you want to explain your answer, how you arrived at that answer, you can do that there. I wouldn't really worry too much about categories and keywords. I would just come on down here and click either submit or submit and create another. Submit and create another means that you can create another question. But I'm going to go ahead and click submit. And you'll see here's my question that showed up right here. I can go ahead and create different kinds of questions as well. So if I wanted to, for example, create an essay question, and you can see here, this looks pretty similar to the multiple choice section. I want to make sure I put in my question text, and I have a question typed up already that I'm going to copy and paste into here. And then I could write a brief explanation of the answer here as well. I could even attach a rubric. And again, I wouldn't worry about keywords and categories. So I can click submit. And you'll see there's my essay question. So ultimately, to create a test in Blackboard, you would just keep going to create a question and continue adding questions for as many questions as you have until you have the test all created and ready to go. The last thing I want to show you about tests is how to modify the test options. So if I click next to the title of the test, on this downward facing arrow, there's a modify options button. And basically what this allows you to do is to change the ways in which the test is presented to students. And we could really get into the weeds here and talk a lot about all of the different ways that Blackboard has for you to give students a test in different ways, but I'm going to really just hit the highlights for you here. So let's go on down to test availability. One important thing that I want to point out is this make available to students button. When you're ready to have students actually take an assessment, you want to make sure that you have clicked yes, because that means that students can see this test, so they can click on it and they can take it. I would also like to point out the multiple attempts section here. And multiple attempts is exactly what it sounds like. It means you're giving a student several times to take an assessment. So if you click that, you can enter how many attempts you want students to have. So for example, if you want to allow them to take it 3 times, then they could click through it that many times. You can also select which of those graded attempts you want to actually count. So it could be the highest grade, it could be an average, it's really up to you. You can also set a timer if you would like. So if you only want students to have, say, 20 minutes to complete an assessment, you can do that. And then you can have it automatically submit when that 20 minutes expires. So you can turn that on as well. These display dates here means that, if you click on the calendar, you can select a window of time during which the assignment will appear to students, and it will otherwise not be visible to students. So you may want to set that. And let's keep on scrolling down. You can also set a due date if you would like. So, students have to take this test or this quiz by X date. You can also select that they aren't able to take the test once that date is passed. That's entirely up to you. And let's keep on scrolling down. You can also select how the test appears to students, if you want them to see the entire test at once or one question at a time, that sort of thing. You can randomize questions, which I think is always a good idea for plagiarism kind of purposes. You might want to go ahead and check that box. So again, we didn't look at all of the options here on this page because we could really get into the weeds and talk about a lot of different things for Blackboard assessments, but that's basically all you need to know. So once you're done going through all of that, you can simply click submit, and then your assessment is ready to go. If your students were to go over to the exams page, they could scroll on down to the Chapter 5 test, and that assignment would be ready for them to go. So that's all you really need to know about creating a test in Blackboard.